Be back in a second. How you guys doing? Hang on a sec. I'll be right there. Hey, Ilko. Mask, how are you? Jose? Okay, we see it here. Your mouse clicks. Yeah, I had to. What I had to do was put out the announcement. So, what's up? What do you guys want to talk about today about watches? Oh, hey, horology by the sea. How you doing? How are things in San Diego? Jeez. By the way, too, any of you guys from Florida? I know we usually have some guys from Florida, and hope they're doing okay. Oh, you're getting foggy, actually. Let's see. Oh, it's pretty early out there. So yeah, we always had the when I was living in San Diego, we always had the morning marine layer. I knew that from flying because I'd fly out of Carlsbad and we'd have to wait. Foggy was a little more. So anyway, so what's up? What's a good topic? Did you see that Tom Brady is selling his whole collection at auction? No, I did not. Um, what are what do his tastes run to in watches? Tom, I know he's a California guy. He's from, I think, Santa Clara or someplace like that. Um, no, I didn't know that. Mass, do you know anything about the about his collection? You know, sometimes these guys who are celebrity collectors really know watches. Other times, not so much. There's one guy who's a member of Kiss, a band called Kiss. He guy really knows his stuff. One of the pieces was a Rolex GMT Master that was worn by the guy who famously planted a flag there, a GMT Master on the moon. Oh, he had a moon watch. Oh, that's. But wait a minute. Rolex GMT Master. That one must have gone later. Hi, Equus Lucas. How you guys doing? So, what's up for what's going on? What do you think is important that's happening in watches? Anyone? What would be something that would be, you think is important? It was the first automatic on the moon, back when astronauts could choose their own watches. Oh, so is GPHG important in your view? Yeah, it is really. Not so much that they would make the decisions on watches, but rather for looking at aspects of quality. Um, I know that Horology by the Sea has one of the big winners. That's Harboring 2. They've won 4 Grand Prix awards. And I got to tell you, to some extent, yeah, that's important. A lot of people figure, oh, it's all rigged, so I guess it depends on, how you look at it. I don't know. What do you guys think? To me, it's important. I'm a member of the or whatever they call it, the academy. Hey, Caesar, what are you up to? I'm nobody's boss. I know, just I work for my boss is my wife. Hi, Ramstein. How you doing? Brandon, what do you think? I mean, do you think it's important? I My view is sometimes it's important. Some of the best watches I've ever had or seen were ignored by the GPHG. Um, Moritz Grossmann has never had even a watch that has made it to the nominations, and they're great watches. Um, some of my favorite watches, I don't think the Chanel Monsieur is another one. Well, it may have made it to the nominations, but you know, it's like, yeah, it's something, but not everything. That's sort of the way I view GPHG. Mask. I think advertising is a big part of all of the events. Maybe they are 20, 60% compromised, but um, without them, we have only advertising. Yeah, Harshit Jan. Let's see. Did you work in watchmaking? What was your job before YouTube? Before YouTube, I was retired. I was a professor. Uh, Results on GPHG are irrelevant, but entries are great conglomerate of info and new watches. That's true. Now, Caesar, remember, if a Larique watch wins, if we even get to nominations, then it's very important. Hey, Brandon, let's see. Mixed feelings. One hand, it becomes a popularity contest. Other times, it feels like there are some winners deserving regardless of their status. It's still a viable advertising tool. Oh, that is true. It's a great advertising tool. I agree. Well, it's an advertising tool just to enter it. We found out we got a lot of people, want to know. I want to get a Larique, and Speaking of which, I just happen to have one on. There it is. Um, hey Ed, how you doing? Yeah, Marissa Grossman are great. I agree, but they have well, for that matter, Rolex has never made it to nominations either. Of course, they entered 2 watches in 2007, I think. Both of them got crushed, which is sort of like. However, Rolex has always supported it, which is really funny. I think and what they do is that they send out Tudor to win everything. So he said, well, if you're not going to let Rolex win, also too, you don't have a whole lot of new stuff. They keep saying, well, you have gradual improvements, and maybe you have gradual changes anyway. And one thing I will say for Rolex has the parachrome hairspring in most of their watches, so that's good. They've only gone, I think, one silicon that I know. A rich professor. That's an oxymoron. I'm not a rich professor. Yeah, but the thing is, Jen, is the trick is to buy them when they're not expensive. And so you have to. I bought both of my FP Journes when they were more affordable. In summary, Tudor is better than Moritz Grossman. Yes, Caesar, that's what it is, and it's better than Rolex too. I might add. What do I think about Grand Seiko? Do they have the matches of Patek Philippe? To me, Patek Philippe has sort of took the took the low road. As soon as Patek Philippe, anything after 2009 by Patek Philippe, to me is sort of in another, just like, I'm not interested. I put it, like Swatch and so forth. One of the things that that I'm curious about, why, Rolex was one of the three companies that they all went in together. Rolex, Swatch, and Patek Philippe went in together to develop a silicon hairspring. And silicon hairsprings, I mean, I'm not going to argue that they don't work. They do. But then again, so does the smartwatch. Okay. So you can get an Apple Watch. I think when the watch industry recovered from the quartz crisis, the way they did it was by sort of promoting traditional craftsmanship and things like that. And they were successful. I mean, it was just interesting. There was a lot of hair pulling about the quartz watch, but the Apple Watches, I think, outsold everything. I mean, you hear some companies looking extravagant for having 1 million sales. Apple Watches are in the billions. So it's sort of like it's regular watches mean nothing to them. I mean, it's like this one, nothing. And so you've got this, you have, Patek Philippe. I like Patek Philippe before 2009. In fact, I have my eye on one. But, same thing with Breguet. I like the Breguets that Daniel Roth made back when the Chimay brothers sort of revived Breguet. But ever since they started stuffing silicon hairsprings in them, what's the point? You can't, they lost something. Yeah, Mask. I hope you're. I. What I'm hoping is that you're not right. You may be though. You may be exactly right. I tell you, what is that watch they have? They came out with a good looking watch. Really like the looks of it. The one that they did come out with it was sort of like forgot what they called it. It was some year 1916 or something like that. And I don't know how well it's doing. Now, Rolex will get rid of something pretty quick if it's not doing well. All of my favorite watches they got rid of the Yachtmaster 2, which to me has one of the more really interesting complications to it in their countdown mechanism. Let's see, what else did they get rid of? They got rid of virtually all of their what was it called? The Cellini line. And then, of course, they got rid of the Prince. So, I don't know. I'm hoping that they see the parachrome hairspring as something worth keeping. I really do. But we'll see, you know. At Foreman, a Furrier on 29th Street. I'm not familiar with the Furriers on 29th. I never got downtown that. I mean, I guess that would yeah, downtown that far. I got to go there someday. Um, I don't know what they're doing on that. Uh, when did Breguet start using silicon in their watches? I think it was '08. Could have been around then, Mask. Yeah, that sounds about right. Or yeah, '06. Yeah, that sounds about right. Here was the thing about that Mask. At least I may be wrong about this, but it seemed it was sort of slowly introduced them. They didn't mention. See, the thing of it is for some reason they didn't make a big hullabaloo about it. What they're doing instead, they're saying, "Oh, it's got 15,000 Gauss," what just means that's code word for we got silicon where a real hairspring used to be. Hey, speaking of that, it's called Vincent Calabrese. Have any of you seen Vincent Calabrese's? It's called a Calcis, and it's he swears it's better than a hairspring. That would be a cool watch. He's what he did. He took a Salida and he fixed it up. Took out the regular hairspring that came with it, and put in one of his. It works something like a hammermatic on the Moritz Grossmann. Have any of you seen that? It's really a very interesting thing. But I haven't seen any watch company that sort of said, "Hey, yeah, that looks neat." I mean, remember too, George Daniels had a heck of a hard time getting anyone to accept the coaxial escapement. So, has anybody seen that one? Hi, James. How you doing? Do you think a spring drive is a big innovation in the watch world? Jan? Uh, Yeah, I do. I really do. I think it is, but it's sort of like, but it's more like in sort of a better quartz watch rather than a better anything else. You have brilliant engineering in that. In fact, all throughout Seiko and Grand Seiko, you have just fabulous engineering. Um, There's an old joke about the German and the Japanese engineers. Some German engineers made this very, very thin wire, and they sent it to the Japanese to show off. It says, "Look how thin the wire we made." And the Japanese drilled a hole in it and sent it back. I always like that story. Uh, but I see it more as an engineering marvel rather than horology as we think about it. I mean, it's sort of like, okay, still quartz. They just figured out another way to generate enough electricity so that the thing would fire. Now I know there's a lot of other stuff that they talk about, but that's essentially what it does. HRM, how you doing? Picked up a Svestos movement last week. Frank Mueller's sister brand. Okay, it's a highly modified 2824A2. 2892A2. That movement in and of itself is very good movement. I think the ETA 2892A2 is a good one with titanium bridges, a palladium winding mass. Wow, that sounds nice. Mask. I think all of their dress watches fall because you're already saving up for a Calatrava or a Classique. Switching companies is a tough sell. Now, I talked to Christine Hutter last year at the Watch Time show, and I'm going to see her again at this next one coming up in a couple of weeks. And she said they'd sold out of just about everything. I think if I had a choice of a Moritz Grossmann, sort of a plain dial one, and a Calatrava, I'd go with the Moritz Grossmann. That's just me. Those watches also offer complicated varieties that you can graduate to, but Rolex only has the entry point. Jane, your favorite brand for buying new under 12K? Probably, I'd say Harboring too, under 12K. Um, Another one, I don't know how close to 12, you can close to 12K would be H. Moser. That's one thing I think, other brands that I like, um, they simply went out of sight. There's a really beautiful Patek Philippe, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a hand wound one. Sort of the introductory to Calatrava. Beautiful watch. God, I love that watch. But they screwed it up. They put in that silicon. Just give me the heebie-jeebies. HRM maintenance and part availability is a huge issue for the spring drive. First generation 7R spring drive movements already not supported anymore. So if a proprietary part breaks, you're out of luck. That's not good. That's not good at all. Because I know a lot of people really, the thing about the spring drive is very accurate watch. But I got to say, this is Larique's first watch. That thing is super accurate. I couldn't believe it. I got up this morning and I put the old magnifying glass up to make sure it matched the computer, and it did. So, yeah. So there. So take that quartz drive. Hi, Benjamin. How you doing? So yeah. So that's Harsha Jane. That's I'm trying to think. Those are my favorite under 12. Harshit. Grand Seikos are very reliable. They are. That's so. See, this is the thing: is that if we want a reliable, really kill 'em dead watch, get an Apple Watch. Those things are amazing. My wife has one, and all of the watches that I'd got her before, she doesn't wear anymore. She's got this really a great Beauvais, a Jaeger-LeCoultre, even a gold Dunhill. What else? LVMH travel watch. All of these great watches. She likes her great big old Apple Watch. So I mean, if accuracy, I think, is important. If the watch is purely mechanical, like ours, these are purely mechanical watches. They have a Straumann hairspring, which is, those are the hairsprings your top watchmakers are all using Straumann hairsprings, MB&F, Carré Lannon, all of those guys. Where do they come from? Well, they come from H. Moser, really, or precision engineering. That's part of, I guess, a Mayland group that they come from. To me, that's where accuracy means something, in the sense that quartz watches have always been more accurate than purely mechanical ones. Even when they switch over. So, but getting accuracy from a purely mechanical watch is not quite as easy, and you need good precision stuff. That your COSC watches, I got a lot of respect for them if they're purely mechanical. See, they used to have this contest in Switzerland until the Japanese brought their quartz lots for accuracy, and they just quit having the contest because the quartz watches were so much more accurate. And if they brought the contest back again, and they only had watches with, let's say, traditional, your transitional metals rather than the metalloids, like your metalloids. I love the elements in metalloids. They include silicon as well as arsenic. So just think you got arsenic's little brother in there. You got silicon. Hey, Brandon, you like that? I tell you, there there are some watches. I hate to see us get to the point where the only good watches are is good mechanical watches. If you go to like pre-silicon, all of the pre-silicon ones that the Swatch companies have. I mean, with Breguet, Blanc Pan, Omega, all of those, plus the Patek Philippe's. I had a Calatrava Patek Philippe from 1967. That thing never lost a second. That was a great watch. Wait, 1968, Calatrava. Gorgeous watch. Winding it was like winding it, felt like I was winding in a treasure chest of jewels. Just beautifully done. It was pretty small though, so that was a problem. It's like 31 or 32, something like that. What kind of oxidation coating will be applied to the dials? I don't know, HRM. That's something that our designer is working on right now. He's working with Comblamine on that. This is the reason that we use lacquer on our first watch was that there was this little thing written by Philippe Dufour, and somebody was asking him about the Simplicity 37, I think is the name of it, 37 millimeter watch for the Simplicity. And he said, well, he liked the looks of it. It was thinner. It wasn't as fat, and so you didn't end up with a fatter watch. It didn't crack, and he liked the looks of it. So we just took his advice. Also, we went with Metal Limb, who was the same disc maker. When there was this guy who used to run Comblamine, who was really good, and some other stuff happened there. I don't want to. Things happen, okay? Let me put it this way. Our second watch we have learned more about about the Swiss watchmaking than we care to know. That's all I can say. Gee. Oh, let me tell you another thing. If you ever get a watch and you're in the U.S., you want it shipped to the U.S., and it's got ostrich hide band on it, be in for the trip from hell. That's all I got to say. We had gone through. I took a look at sites. Ostrich skin was not on the sites list. All right, so good. We'll get one of those. And oh boy, we're gonna have one, and we don't have to worry about shipping it. My God, I had to get a license from the Fish and Game. Got this. It's just the stuff we went through. So never again. You get anything imported into the U.S. I don't know about other countries, but you get it imported into the U.S. Textile or just plain old-fashioned cowhide. That's it. Don't or a metal bracelet. But man, I tell you, anything else they just go crazy about. And or even better, here's how to get a really nice band. In fact, this band is a Gator band. I got it from Jean Rousseau. Okay, Jean Rousseau Paris. Jean Rousseau Paris has a shop in New York, and so I can go there and they can ship anything. They've got every kind of, they have these big sort of this thing, all of these skins, and you can go in there and pick the one you want and they'll fix it up for you. Well, they have this cherry colored shiny gator, and so that was what I wanted, and no problems. On the other hand, had I on my watch when it was shipped from Switzerland, my God, they would have shipped it back again. They not you can't have that. The sites would have gone crazy about it. So my advice, if the best way to ship a watch from overseas into the US is simply take off the band, or have a metal band. Yeah. Oh, you went through the same thing, Brandon. Wow. God. I wish more brands used oval egg-shaped movements like found in the old school observatory chronometers. Hey, I got one. In fact, I got it from Brandon. I got this great Myovali. In fact, that's the name of it, oval. Myovali is a oval shaped one, HRM, and it's got telescopic hands. Love that watch. An egg oval shaped movement allows for the largest mainspring and balance wheels. Ah, oh, how neat. And smallest size movement. I'll be darned. Might be interesting idea for Larique. we, oh man, I tell you, a shape movement, getting a shape movement. See, we're dealing with Agenor. We don't have any talent ourselves. We're dependent on some very good talent. But man, I tell you, if we want to say, hey, we want this is what we'd like. But I would really like to I'd like to involve Agenor and Philippe Dufour, Daniela Dufour together in a watch, and have a watch with little finger bridges on each one of the gears on a wheel train, and sort of like the Langenheim Georg, like that one, where you can see the whole thing laid out, and then have a nice big fat balance wheel. Have it would it The one on the Georg is rectangular, but I'd like to do it in the round. Who came up with a pretty nice one? I don't know whether they did it or had it done for them, but Chopek did has a nice sort of like you can see the gearing on that. That was sort of cool. Yeah. Oh, Brandon, you had the ostrich. It was never a problem until 3 weeks ago. Man, I've got a it. Why not just put if you're going have a list somewhere, and saying if you're using these skins, uh, smuggle it. That's, I tell you, if somebody has a gator strap, and you're not sure whether it's copacetic or not, according to sites, and you say, well, I tell you what, send me the watch with the buckle separately, and then send the strap, and then if it's stopped, then they'll just send the strap back. If they decide it's okay, then they'll ship it through. Sometimes they don't bother to look. There's that too. But we don't want to do anything illegal at all. That's a funny thing. Sites. I am like 100% backing sites. I don't think extinct or near extinct animals should be hunted and killed for things like their ivory or for their hides or anything else like that. But what sites is, all they'd have to do, at least for watch bands, they could do it for handbags and gloves and everything else, is to simply put a little chip in. These little chips that have the same power as a 1950s computer are in greeting cards. And they just put the old chip in, the legit ones, and then they wand the thing, see if it's okay, and let it go through. The way they have it now, they have all of this paperwork. Well, you can phony up paperwork with your laser printer. It won't take very long. Hi, Allie. How you doing, man? Hey, James. Let's see. Uh, have you seen Binnerin? Yeah, yeah, that's one of the finalists, isn't it? That thing made, yeah, yeah, I've seen that. That's a nice looking watch. Others will call alligator strap stamped calf. Yeah, the alligators are farmed in the U.S. Skins get shipped to Europe and then shipped back again. Yeah, that's Brandon. There's no way to you. Yeah, that's what you're right. The the gator farms, they farm them like the same way that you'd farm, some cow that headed for, off to final destination McDonald's, except for the hide goes into, handbags, God knows what else, jackets and things like that. So anyway, stay away from those. Hey, Michael, how you doing? Plenty of gators in Florida, just returning them to their native habitat, getting ready for the hurricane. Oh, wow, you're in Orlando. That's on the west. That's on the East Coast. Boy, I tell you, getting hammered by those down there. I was gonna, yeah, hunker down, man. That's amazing. That storm. God, that storm coming there is they just cleaned up from one, and they're picking up all the stuff they cleaned up in Florida right now because they said it'll act like shrapnel when the new storm comes. It's just going to blast it all over the place. So they're working to clean it up. Good God, I tell you, that's anyway. Hang in there, Michael. Yeah, yeah, Brandon. Yeah, you got the fires. God, when I live in San Diego, uh, the house that I lived in was burnt down to the foundation in the San Rancho Bernardo fire. Fortunately, I had sold it and moved by the time it burnt down. Ah, it's funny, Michael. When I lived in Florida, I lived in Gainesville. I was teaching at the University of Florida, and my boss was an avid fisherman. And we'd go out to Cedar Key all the time, and then take out his boat out of Cedar Key, the Gurmisi Sioux, which is Greek for for something that you better leave in Greek. That's all I got to say. But we'd go out there, and I saw Cedar Key, man. I tell you, that thing it's sort of like it's got a target on it. So it's just sort of sticking its chin out a little from the rest of Florida. But it's a little north of the one they're having right now, but still they get that surge and the whole place is flooded. Maybe that, from what I understand, Michael, they took out the term climate change out of all of the textbooks in Florida. I thought, oh boy, well, we just have lots and lots more storms like that. Oh man. Hey, Finnegan the Ninja, how you doing? What do you think of Armin Strom resonance movement? Does the link balance spring take something away? Not really. Not I don't think. I know what you're saying, and especially with my harping on hairsprings. The difference is that you can still adjust the hairspring on an Armin Strom. Okay, and so the there's a very different kind of thing. I'm good with silicon in an escapement too because it works like an escapement made of transitional metals. So I mean, to me, the thing is that you take out some kind of key functionality. Now, granted, hairsprings they don't magnetize. They keep their shape better in heat and cold. They're cheaper to manufacture. They come out like they look like they come out in in these sheets, like cookie sheets, and you pump them out to get them all right there. As on the other hand, if you've ever seen the way they got to do a hairspring, how they set those things up, that's a challenge. That's why so few people want to mess with them. Anyway, no, yeah, no, Armin Strom. I'm a big fan of Armin Strom. I'm not the resonance watch, the FP Journe I have. That to me is sort of the classic way of doing resonance. It's like very clear on that. But other people look at the one that Beat Holloman has. That one is an amazing resonance too. But you're right. I mean, there's some other materials that, as long as they don't change let's say the watchmaker's role. How's that? Okay, what else is going on? Oh, I know something. I ask you, and then I answer my own question. I saw this thing about the new, I think the new moon watch is apparently they came out with a new one, and they were saying, "Oh, this is as close as you can get to the original." That I'm reading on. This thing's 1,500 Gauss, and they didn't have a silicon hairspring for that. So, yeah, if you got an Armin Strom, you got a good watch. I think that's one of the watches on my list. I am flat out watch broke right now, and when I'm no longer watch broke, you guys can help me out. I got 4 watches I'm thinking of getting. One is a pre-silicon Patek Philippe 5124G. Okay, that's one of the gondolas. There's another really funky looking one too, that if the price was right. So that's one I'm looking at. The second one is a Quadrille by Vacheron Constantin. Third one is the one I can't, Monostrat, something like that, by Roger Dubuis. And the other one is one of the Armin Stroms. I'm not sure which one. So those are the 4 that I'm thinking about. On Dornbooth and Son, I like them. Dornbooth and Son, they sort of, what's interesting about them is that they were sort of trying to do watches pre-German reunification. And then after reunification, they started doing a lot of more interesting things. And they started using, I think, 6498s. I think it was 6498s. And then they developed their own movements. So yeah, those are, I've got a lot of respect for them. That's a company I like. I sort of have these companies I like a lot, but I don't have any other watches. And I just like them because I like the way they do business. And so there's that. So it's, plus I can't afford everything I like either. So, you know, and I know Dornbooths are reasonably priced too. But yeah, those are cool watches. Okay, so what else is going on? Anything exciting for you guys? Say, hot dickety dog. This is coming up. Hey, I got something else for you too while I'm answering my own question. If you're going to the Watch Time show in New York, it will be a week from tomorrow. Okay, no, it'll be a week from this Friday. So if you're going to that is more fun. The Friday night party is what we always go to, and I've been doing that for almost, I think I started going to them the second year they had them. I'll tell you what got me hooked on those. There was a company there. The first year I went, there was this one company, and they had this professional photographer there taking these pictures, and it was one of the best pictures of that my wife and I got. So we got our pictures and stuff, but it was advertising, okay, and so you had to taste their tequila. Well, we did it. We also got several pictures. We got a shot glass of that. I thought, oh boy, this is a great watch show. Actually, they have an open bar. They have sort of they give you enough of those little finger eats to make it a banquet. That's on Friday night. The rest of the time you're on your own. During Saturday and Sunday at the watch show, by the way, too, you can get a $10 discount on the tickets to the Saturday and Sunday shows. What's it called? TWC 10 or something like that. I put it up on High Horology Lounge. I posted up there the secret password that you have if you can get a discount on those last 2 days. So that's another thing. Is I'm looking forward to that. I want to talk to Christine Hutter again. Now, last year I talked to her. I asked her about some group like Larique getting our mitts on the Hammermatic and then maybe doing something with that. And she said at the time, she's maybe in about 3 years. So we'll see. That'd be cool. Hey, thanks, Fate. Okay, so let's see what else is going on. I'll shut up for a second, okay? What else do you guys want to talk about? And by the way, if you're there Friday night, around I think 6:30, we're gonna try to meet up on the mezzanine floor. So, hi, Jose. I know you don't like chronographs, but any thoughts on Daniel Roth chronographs? I had one, oddly enough, a chronograph, and I think now the new, if you're talking about the new ones that that are coming out that was sort of revived Donald Roth, and those things are over $100,000. The other ones, they have like El Primero chronographs or something like that in them. I don't know how much Daniel Roth put into that. There are different kinds of Daniel Roth chronographs. One of them apparently is not the El Primero, but one that he devised himself. It's really important. It's really funny. I'm not against chronographs per se. It's what they do is that, I like at a glance watches. This is sort of my favorite kind of dial, just sort of nice and plain. Take a look, you can tell the time at a glance. Chronograph, you got all of these different dials and stuff. That is one of the many things that I like about the Streamliner chronograph that H. Moser has with the Eigengraph movement in it, because that is the way to deal with it. Another one too is, this is sort of a under the radar watch that is really a nice watch, and that's the Fabergé DTZ dual time zone. Again, that has another Agenor movement, but they also have one with the Eigengraph movement in it as well. Fabergé is one of those ones. I got my Fabergé Alexi that I got, which are now almost unavailable. I just got it a few months ago. God, I love that watch, and I don't know why, but it has a Frederick Piguet movement. It's got a solid back, which I don't like, but if you take the solid back off, you see this wonderful Imperial Eagle that they have for a rotor. It just blows my mind. Anyway, but that's one. And there's one version of a Ralph Lauren with a Jaeger-LeCoultre in it. I saw one of those. I think it's advertised either on eBay or Chrono 24. But those are the kinds of watches that are fun, because you get a designer doing good design, a fashion designer perhaps, but still they know their way around design, or a jeweler even better because they really know about making cases. So those are one of the reasons I like them. Hey James, won't be in New York. We'll be at the Bristol Watch Show on the 23rd in jolly old England. Oh, that would be a fun one. They have some good watch shows over there. There was one in Ireland not too long ago. They really had some good people. Some people like, what's his name? Gerber, Paul Gerber. Boy, his stuff is top notch. Um, Brandon had one at Horology by the Sea. I didn't get a chance to get it. Really a nice one. Moses Streamliner Chrono for the same price as the Daytona. You'd be mad to buy the. Yeah, I agree, James. Well, I I like the looks of the Daytona, but it would be, what a Daytona would be good for is one of those wall clocks. That would be cool for. I've got my up here when I keep pointing up here is where I have my FP Journe Chronometre Surveying. It's got it's silver colored plastic around it, but it looks exactly like my platinum one, so I'm happy with that. That's another thing too. I think they're fun to have if you have one of those wall clocks. There's all kinds of Rolex wall clocks if you like Rolex, and they have some other ones. I've seen Audemars Piguet ones. Some of them are pretty expensive, but most of them, they're not crazy expensive like the watches are. Slow timer, yeah. I like the Daytona at retail. Yeah, like I said, I'm not a big chronograph fan. Daytona's a nice watch. This is something I think that sort of is crazy. It, uh, it you don't want your watch lovers of any brand to become a cult, and some have. Okay, I'll put it that way. And that just sort of gets tiring if you run into one of those people. Immediately they'll want to tell you all about it. Like that. It was, or why some little piece of it. Oh, this one was made and so on and so forth, and like trying to keep awake on it. And you say, "Oh, by the way, tell me about the movement." Well, I don't know too much about this. I just know that they only made so many copies of it, and so had one in his collection. Fate. A BO1 movement. I'll say nothing. Oh, I can't even. I have a block on certain ones. Well, look, guys, I tell you, I've been yammering on for about an hour now, and pretty soon my wife is going to come in here and yank me out by the ear, so I'm going to have to boogie off. And thank you guys for coming. You had some great stuff today. It was fun. Michael, you stay safe, okay? The rest of you take care as well. We'll see you guys.